If you want to know what your life will look like in 10 years, you do not need to consult a crystal ball or wait for a stroke of luck. You only need to look at what you did this morning. You only need to examine the 3 hours between when you woke up and when you began your formal work. The future is not a distant, foggy destination that we eventually stumble into. The future is a person you are currently building, one brick at a time, with the mortar of your daily habits. Most people live as if life is a series of grand, cinematic events, weddings, promotions, breakthroughs, and crises. But these are merely the harvest. The planting happens in the silence of an ordinary Tuesday. Your destiny is not a destination, it is a direction. And that direction is determined entirely by the rhythm of your daily routine. We are a culture obsessed with the event. We celebrate the lottery winner, the overnight success, and the sudden transformation. We love stories of the underdog who hits a home run in the final inning. But this focus on the climax of the story causes us to ignore the hundreds of hours of practice that made the hit possible. Success is remarkably boring. It is the steady, quiet, and often repetitive execution of fundamental tasks that most people find too mundane to stick with. Most people fail not because they lack the talent for the event, but because they lack the character for the routine. They want the stage, but they despise the rehearsal. If you view your life as a series of events, you will always be a victim of your circumstances. You will wait for the perfect opportunity or the right feeling before you act. But if you view your life as a process, you become the architect. You realize that the breakthrough is simply the moment when your internal preparation finally meets an external opportunity. If you haven't been preparing in your routine, you won't even recognize the opportunity when it stands in front of you. Your schedule is the only honest reflection of your priorities. We all say we value our health, our families, our growth, and our integrity. But if I were to look at your calendar and your bank statement for the last 30 days, would I see those values represented? Intention is cheap. Anyone can intend to be great, but a routine is a commitment. It is the physical manifestation of what you actually believe is important. If you say you want to build a business, but your routine consists of 4 hours of entertainment and 0 hours of deep work, then you don't actually want to build a business. You want the idea of a business. There is a profound psychological peace that comes when your daily actions align with your long-term goals. This is what we call integrity. Conversely, most of the anxiety and burnout we feel in modern life is actually the friction caused by living out of alignment. You feel exhausted not because you are working too hard, but because you are working on the wrong things, or because you are neglecting the small, daily disciplines that keep your spirit anchored. Destiny is a game of compounding interest. In finance, we understand that small, consistent investments grow into massive wealth over decades. The formula for compound interest is A equals P, 1 plus R. N, where A is the final result, P is the initial effort, R is the rate of improvement, and N is the number of times you repeat the action. The same math applies to your character and your success. If you improve your skills or your discipline by just 1% every day, the math is staggering. Over the course of a year, that 1% improvement doesn't just make you 365% better. It makes you nearly 38 times better than you were when you started. 1.01, 365, equals 37.78, but the reverse is also true. If you allow your standards to slip by just 1% every day, if you skip that one workout, tell that one small lie, or procrastinate on that one difficult task, you don't just stay the same. You slowly drift toward zero. Destiny is the sum total of these tiny, invisible margins. You do not decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. There is a moral dimension to your routine. We have been granted a finite amount of time, a specific number of heartbeats. To live without a routine is to live as if your time has no value. It is an act of ingratitude to the life you've been given. A routine is an act of stewardship. It is the way you say thank you for your talents by ensuring they are being used to their fullest capacity. When you master your morning, you are declaring that you are a leader, not a follower. You are declaring that you will govern your impulses rather than being governed by them. Most people treat their time like a limitless resource, squandering it on distractions that add no value to their souls. But the disciplined person treats time like a precious seed. They know that an hour spent in deep work, or an hour spent in meaningful connection with a loved one, or an hour spent in silent reflection, is a seed that will eventually grow into a harvest of wisdom and impact. Responsibility begins with the clock. If you cannot manage the 60 minutes in front of you, why should you be entrusted with the management of a company, a family, or a mission? The hardest part of a daily routine is the middle. When you start a new routine, you have the honeymoon phase. You feel motivated and excited. Then eventually, the novelty wears off. The work becomes repetitive. You stop seeing immediate results. This is the valley of disappointment. This is where the world tries to convince you that your small efforts don't matter. This is where you must shift your perspective. You must learn to find joy in the unseen work. You must fall in love with the process, not just the result. The person who loves walking will go further than the person who only loves the destination. Consistency is the ultimate separator. There are thousands of people with more talent than you, more money than you, and more connections than you. But they cannot beat you if you are the one who refuses to stop. If you show up every day with a calm intensity and a commitment to excellence, the talented people who are inconsistent will eventually fall behind you. Success is often just a war of attrition. It is the ability to stay in the room and keep doing the right things long after everyone else has gone home to relax. Your routine is not just building your career, it is building your soul. Every time you follow through on a difficult habit, you are strengthening your will. You are becoming a person who can be trusted. If you are currently unhappy with your life, do not look at the big things. Do not look at your bad luck or the unfairness of the world. Look at your Tuesday. Look at your Thursday. What are you consuming? Information, food, company. How are you speaking? To others and to yourself, what are you avoiding? The difficult conversation, the deep work, the honest reflection change the routine, and you change the person. Change the person, and you change the destiny. You are currently writing the story of your life, not with ink, but with the way you spend your hours. If someone were to watch a movie of your daily routine, would they see a hero on a mission? Or would they see a spectator waiting for something to happen? We often think of destiny as something that happens to us at the end of our lives. We imagine it as a legacy or a monument, but destiny is a living thing. It is happening right now, in the way you are sitting, the way you are thinking, and what you plan to do the moment this talk ends. There is a quiet dignity in a well-ordered life. There is a profound strength in the person who has mastered themselves. When you have a routine that reflects your highest values, you no longer fear the future. Why should you? You are the one creating it. The weight of a disciplined life is heavy, but it is the weight of a foundation. The weight of an undisciplined life is also heavy, but it is the weight of regret. One weight builds a temple. The other weight crushes the person beneath it. Choose your weight. As you move back into your life, I want you to perform a destiny audit. Take 5 minutes to sit in total silence. Do not look at your phone. Do not look at your to-do list. Just look at your last 24 hours. If you lived every day for the next 20 years exactly like you lived the last 24 hours, where would you be? Would you be healthy? Would you be wise? Would you be at peace? Would you be proud of the person in the mirror? If the answer is no, then today is the day the routine changes. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, pick one small habit, one brick, and place it with total excellence. Tomorrow, place another. The years will pass regardless of what you do. You might as well spend them building something that lasts. Your routine is your destiny. Choose wisely.
But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Matthew 6:33. May the Lord bless you and guide you in every good work.